Well, good evening, everybody. I'm glad to see that 46 of you are still here. I did not even think about the time change really messing with everybody because some people have that daylight savings time, some people don't. And I already had one new thing learned in the stream before we even went live. I seen Chris posted in there the fact that they do the daylight savings time as well, but because they're in the southern hemisphere, it's backward. So we in North America, we fall back in fall. Fall back. Well, they fall forward. So he's got a big time difference going on down there, and I guess New Zealand as well. So thank you all for being here and uh, for hanging out. And I'm going to put this down here. I took the suggestion. I think it was Bob made the suggestion last week. Banners. Here we go. Show. So for those new to the stream, right there, put 3 question marks in front of your question and 3 exclamation points in front of your comments if you want me to acknowledge them. And I'll periodically post that up so you can see it. But that's what helps me, grabs my attention, and helps see what's going on. And again, thank you all for being here and your patience. Tonight, we're going to go over quite a few things. I did another Christmas tree design back there, and we'll bring it up. I redesigned the roof on the cabin. Previously, it was done in a way that it almost had to be glued together to keep it from not come apart. And if you were going to make this thing a seasonal thing, the glued up roof with the rest of it collapsible wasn't convenient. So I redesigned the roof so that it can be assembled and disassembled, and even assembled and disassembled by someone with little hands. You know, a child could do this. It's really simple. And we'll take a look at that and take a look at the hurdles of this new design and what to look for if you get this file, and what the headaches will be about resizing the material. And if you don't want the cabin file, you don't have the cabin file, you're never going to use the cabin file, but you see this and how this is designed, the headaches, the hurdles of overcoming resizing the slots with the way I've designed this, it might be something that you could use as just the information, the knowledge about, oh, that's kind of a cool way to do that, but oh, I didn't think about doing that. That's going to be a problem, but I'll show you how to overcome those problems. And I had a request for a couple of files in the last couple of days. One was a sled, and another one was a Star David with a cross. So we been really busy this week, and not to mention just helping quite a few of you out here in the stream. Or I meet them in the studio here and help out folks with their designs. So I'm going to scroll up through here, and because I seen some comments or question marks before we even got in here, and I didn't. Okay, I seen all of those, and and again, I apologize for not putting a reference in the thumbnail about, hey, the time's changed. Didn't even think about it. All right, I've seen some question marks. Where? Oh, and I just seen a comment about the t-shirt. Yeah, Chris, I got your email just before going live about your t-shirt information. If you were previously signed up on YouTube as a member on YouTube and you have spent 3 monthly payments of $10, cancel that YouTube membership and send me an email with your shipping information along with your t-shirt size, and I will be getting those out. I'm hoping to get them out before the end of the year. That's the plan. But you know, man plans and God laughs. So I don't have nearly the number of t-shirt information and shipping addresses as I did members. So maybe you signed up as a member and you don't care about the t-shirt. That's fine too. But if you want that t-shirt, I need an email, shipping address, and t-shirt size. Let's see here. Questions. I seen some. I know I did. Okay, there's one. Questions. Didn't get little tree in cabin plans. Yeah, the little tree's not in the cabin plans. The little tree was that was, if you watch the video, I'm pretty sure I discussed it in the video, and I don't think I advertised the tree on the website no, I don't, with the cabin. What that was about, Florida Templar, was I was trying to show how versatile the design can be. Here I've got it with the tree in there and Frosty and Santa. But if you weren't using the tree, the way that the file comes when you buy it or download it, if you're a member, patron, you get it for free. They're set up like this. Those are sitting apart from each other in front of the windows on there. And you could do different figures. You could do an Easter bunny and have an Easter egg over there for an Easter cabin. And I did not do it as a gingerbread style house because that way it could be used all year or for different holidays or different seasons. But in the video that's posted with the link, it shows how to create these guys, how easy they are to create little pieces that fit in there. And this was the full-size tree that I did and showed you guys how to do that in one of the previous live streams, I think it was. And I just said, oh, you know what? That'd be kind of cool to put a tree out there. So I made a smaller version without all the cutouts and showed how you could just pop that in there. But yeah, it's not part of the design. And I don't think it's advertised with the design. You may have just seen photos with it and assumed that it was. But that was just showing how easy it is to work with that file and customize it. Everyone got sound? Boy, I hope everybody's got sound. We'll see here. Getting down here. Exclamation marks. 3 dogs. Custom engraving is in the house. Well, welcome. Yep, loud and clear. Okay, good. All right. Don't know what that was about. Hey, Jackson. Oh, missed it. Scrolled up. Jack's here. Jack, I'm curious, did that customer I sent to you work out, or was that a bust? All right. And now I'm going to mark my spot in the comments. Okay. Now, so I just showed you this tree. This was one that I did that showed you how I create the symmetrical trees and then did the interlocking pieces that slid together and then put it into a base. And this was really, really simple and easy to do. And you could do that technique, not just with trees, but with any shape and make it a 3-dimensional piece. And if you do it perfectly symmetrical, when you put them together like this, it'll look good from any angle. So that was the last tree we did. And then I seen something the other day and I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. So I want to do that just to do it. So I did this tree. And when you're looking at it straight on like that, it's really kind of like, all right, is that impressive or not? Because you're just looking straight on at the profile. But what I liked about it is the way that the inside is covered up. It's not just it's a round, perfectly round cylinder. But if it's sitting on the desktop and somebody's standing at your desk looking at it, this is actually the same snowflake done at various sizes and spaced out in a way so that it forms, a perfect tree shape. And one of the axes has got the star on it. And I painted it the red with the little Christmas tree skirt, and did just throw that. I hope I didn't tear up nothing. Yep, I put something on the mark. Didn't want to do that, but that's okay. But I thought that was kind of cool. It's just a different look and a different take on a similar design. But the way that I covered all that up inside there, so you didn't see that interlocking, because that's done just like this tree. It's just two flat pieces of 3mm birch plywood interlocking together, so it actually forms an X. And that would look kind of tacky, but to hide that, I got these great big thick 1/2 inch in diameter paper straws for smoothies and milkshakes. So it's a 1/2 inch inner diameter. They're huge and they're made out of paper. So they're really cool. And I put that snowflake tree is on hobowithwood.com along with a link in the description for where I got these on Amazon. But I can think of a whole bunch of designs I've got that this will be really cool to be able to hide features and make it look really, really clean. So you'll probably be seeing more uses for stuff like this. And then the sled, I'm pretty sure you're in the stream. The sled was a request. Was it Robert? Yeah, Robert. Robert sent me a request for a sled. He sent me an image, and I looked at it, and it was something available on, what was it, on Etsy, I think. And they were selling the file for like $5 or something. And it was a really complicated design. And I looked at it, and I emulated it. And I said, okay, that's kind of cool. But man, it was tedious. It was a lot of parts. In fact, let's see here. Come on back. Oh, wrong button. Oh, wrong button again. Is that what I want? Nope. Yeah, that's what I want. All right, now switch. So this was the original design that I worked up. And you can see there's a lot of pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, around 16 pieces to that thing. And it was only going to be about 4 inches tall. So I was like, and I do some overcomplicated designs. I admit it. But that was just too bad. So I was like, okay, let's simplify this. Let's use the KISS method. We got to make this thing simpler because it's going to be a 4.5 inch, give or take, Christmas ornament. So what I ended up with, outward appearance is very, very similar. You got a little string on there. You can hang it from the tree. It's 4 inches tall. Got the runners on it. Now I redesigned it from when I cut this out because right now the string is just hanging between the runners. And you can hang it on the tree, or if you didn't want to hang it on the tree, you could take that out and just have it sitting on the tabletop or wherever you wanted, a little desktop decoration. But I redesigned that, and I'll show you that in a second. And also I got a twist on this one too. But this was Robert seen it and he liked it, and I said, I like it too. And yeah, I think I can come up with a file. And I cut it down from those umpteen number of pieces to this is only 4 pieces that you have to put together. The 2 runners, 1 solid piece, even though it looks like they're all snapped in there, 1 solid piece, and then the steering mechanism up front. Real easy to put together. And it could be, you could take it a step further. And guys, think of my designs, a lot of my designs, as just springboards. Especially the ones that I'm putting up here lately, where I'm throwing them up here for $1.95. I got a little time invested in putting them together and creating them. But if I'm putting them up there that inexpensive, that's because they are relatively easy to put together. But you could take that and add some stuff to it, build on this, and make it more unique. So like this is going to be a Christmas ornament. And because of the sled design, there's not a lot of space to engrave or put personalization on it and make it visible from a distance, because this thing's only 4.5 inches tall and only about 45 mil wide, less than 2 inches wide. But you could take and put on a separate piece, be it a Christmas ball shape or a wreath shape, or cut something out, some other piece of artwork, and glue it to the face of it and personalize it and make that a unique special Christmas ornament for each individual or for Christmas 2024, whatever. So don't get the file and say, oh, that's cool. Take it and build on it, expand on it. And this question comes up quite a bit. Can you sell my designs? You can sell all the physical property you want. If you get these files and you can download the files and make them, and you've got craft shows and you can sell 1 million of these at $1 a piece and you make $1 million, more power to you. I do not license or try to restrict any commercial use of the physical products you create with my designs. But I do ask that you don't sell or give away my work, the actual design. Be decent. But think of the designs as springboards. All right, so there's that. Get that out the way, and let's see. Oh, let's see. I know what. I told you I redesigned that, and I think Robert sent me a picture. So right now, as I showed, I just had the string running through there because the string, the rope or the string was an afterthought for me. I didn't think about it. But Robert emailed me after I sent him the file, and he's like, or maybe it was before, he said, well, where does the rope go? And I was like, okay, I can fix that. And so I modified the file yet again and then sent him the file, and he has made one from the new file design, and this is what it looks like. So same concept, except for right down here inside the runner on each side, I put 2 places where you can run a string through there and make it the Christmas ornament. And its placement, it actually doesn't look terrible even if you don't run the string. It looks pretty decent with or without a string. And I really like that design. Now, this was done, I did a quick research on wooden sleighs. And all of the image you pulled up, or not all, but the majority of the images you pull up on wooden sleighs, they sit really high in the snow. And I don't know if it's a geography thing or because we didn't have wooden sleighs when I grew up. We had those old metal Western Flyers or whatever, and they sit low profile to the ground, and you could slide up underneath the car and kill yourself real quick, decapitate you, whatever. But these guys, they look like they sit up so high that you probably hit your head on the bumper or rear end and put a big dent in the tailgate of a vehicle instead of going under it on these things. But we're going to look at designing this piece tonight once I get over to Lightburn and we start designing, because this is so easy and so simple. And we're going to design it, and then I want to show you how easy it is to modify this file. If you're a patron or you buy this file and you say, what, I would like it a little bit shorter. Well, it's so simple to modify the existing file without having to redesign everything. And we're going to look at that concept as well once we get the design done. So my phone's going crazy, and I hope it's just emails coming in about t-shirts or whatever, and not anybody complaining about anything here. Yep, t-shirts. I just want to make sure that none of y'all sending me messages about, hey, no audio, hey, no this, no that. All right, it looks good. All right, so let me go back up here to the last comment mark and see if any questions. Where is it? All right, there was Florida Templar. We got that. Coming on down. Get on down the road. Question marks or my marks. So, and I missed it, Jack. You're saying thank you. So I guess you got him. I missed your reply. I'm guessing you got him taken care of. He and I grew up together. He's a good guy. I just didn't have the means I don't have my CNC functioning right now. All right. Okay, it did. All right. You're picking up tomorrow. Excellent. There was the response. All right. Wow. Thank you, Tom. Muchas gracias, señor. Feliz Navidad. Rosebud. I give them away free address to the Hobo website. Oh, okay. All right. So first, let's real quick. I want to address the new roof design on the cabin, how it goes together, how easy it is, but what you need to look at for the roadblocks, the stumbling blocks, if you need to resize the file to your material thickness. Right now, I design most everything with 3mm tabs and slots, but this piece still just slips right off. But what I did on the other one, which is way over there, and I'm not going to get it. You've seen it. It's just glued together. But this one, I actually put some ears on the side with notches and tabs on them, and then little pieces here that slip on and interlock and hold it in place. It looks a little bit tacky, like not tacky. It's just more obtuse. It's more in your face. It's not as clean looking as it glued together. But here's why I say about taking these designs and making them unique and making them your own. What you can do, if you don't mess up the symmetry or the geometry or the placement of the slots and tabs, where in the design, these ovals are just that. They're just ovals. And if you notice, they're offset. They're not, the slots are not in the center of the oval. And that's on purpose, because that's in order to get the right clearance needed for the roof to line up at the top. But those don't have to be ovals. If you were going to be making this a gingerbread house, make those the round peppermint candies. They can be big old round pieces of candy with the slot to slide in there. If it's going to be Easter house or whatever, make them egg shaped. Make them to fit into whatever design you want to be, for that season. But they just simply slide on, and there's no glue involved. And I'm going to throw it across the room trying to get it apart. It's been sitting in here in the humidity. There we go. That one just slides up, lifts off, and look at you doing it. There we go. I'm trying to do it on the camera, and it's not wanting to cooperate. That just slides off. And you've got that ear. Where is it? There it is. You've just got that ear that sticks out that slides over and then slides down to lock in place. And like I said, easy enough to do. A child could do it. Keep them entertained while the family's preparing dinner for Thanksgiving or whatever. They can paint them up with the paint pens. All that's in the description in the Hobo with Wood. But this is a neat way to put those together, and also to be able to disassemble it, put it all in storage at the end of the season when you're not using it. And again, use those as an opportunity to decorate it and customize it. They don't have to be ovals. But that's easy. No glue. And there we go. Again, I said thank you, Tom. I appreciate you. Yeah, Chris. Snowflakes would be good. Snowflakes, candies if you're doing the candy gingerbread house. Anything seasonal that you're using it for, you can make those any shape that you wanted. The oval's what I did because it was mechanical fit done, and now you've got the placement of everything, and now you can make it any shape you want. All right, now that's notes on the snowflake tree, the roof cabin redesign, the sled designs. Designs as in plural. I showed you the finished product with the rope placement. We're going to jump over to Lightburn and show you just how easy this is to design and create. It's one of the simplest designs I've done. Once I took all of my, once I got out of the way, because initially I had nearly 20 pieces to do a 4-inch piece, 4.5-inch piece. I said, once I got out of the way, it was real simple, real quick. So let's get rid of that. Dale, you're late, but you're just in time for the design part of the show. You can always go back, and I recapped the other designs and the changes that were made to them. Oh, you know what? And before I close this, let's see here. I mentioned to you, I had a request to do another, it was a Star of David with a cross, and I ended up making kind of a medallion style with it. And that one won't, nope, that one won't, nope, that one won't, nope. It's in my downloads. There we go. Oh, and I teased y'all and showed you the piece of hickory that I cut out for the fireplace. It's been installed, and we'll take a look at that too. So, in fact, let's go over here. Not there. There. And switch. So this is a close-up of Papa Bear, and he's standing on a mound with trees off in the distance and the mountains and the silhouette in the back. But I got this blown up so you can see the ground, all the texture and stuff that I'd done to it. I did that with multiple layers using offset fill, so it wasn't just a black engraving like the mountains were. The mountains look good, just a solid silhouette. But doing this with the offset fill, it gave it some texture to the ground, and it really looked good. But then before he installed it, he went back with some fiberglass mesh for reinforcement, and also mainly to help kind of keep critters out, because these are actually vents it's on a, there we go. It's on a built-in, I guess, gas logs. And it did have these vents up top, and they had been modified for utilitarian purposes and didn't like it. So we made this custom piece to go in there. And I like that. I like the way it finished, the way it come up. But that's done, installed, and not that one. But yeah, while you're here, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. Nope, not that one. Hey, where that one? That's the Star of David with the cross, and done it in a pendant style. And on the website, I mentioned there's another piece that's kind of like a little figure 8 that you could attach with a jump ring, and then use that top piece of the figure 8 to either be a wall hanger, or you could incorporate it into another design. But I just thought that was it was a request from a patron, and I said, I like that. I'll put it up there and let people see it. So it's on the website as well. So now that we got all of that out of the way, I got my place marked. Let's jump over to Lightburn and look at designing this sled. And this is something I'm going to try and go quick with because it is really, really a simple piece. I've designed it twice now, so hopefully I can go through it without a whole lot of screw ups. But Lightburn. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to draw out a rectangle, and I'm going to do it at 100 millimeters. No, let's see, that was the width. So we'll do 47 millimeters. Come on, 47 millimeters wide. Unlock. What's going on? Why ain't my 47? Oh, my num lock must be off. There it is. Num lock, num nuts. 47 millimeters and 100 millimeters. And I just liked that ratio for the bed of the sled. And we'll put it on a cut path, so we're in a open line mode. So there was the beginning size was 100 by 47. You can make it whatever you want it to be, but that's what I went with. Now with that, I'm going to right click, convert to a path, show my nodes, and now I'm going to start shaping this the way I want it to be. And I'm going to use the letter M to insert a node in the middle of these two nodes. No matter where you're at on this line, as long as you're touching the line and hit the letter M, it's going to put a node in the middle. If I come over here and do it again, it's going to put a node in the middle of those two. And I'm going to put another node there. Down here at the bottom, I'm just going to put in a single node in the middle. Now what I'm going to do is grab this node here, and I'm going to tell it S for smooth. And actually, you know what? I think all three of those, S for smooth. click on the middle one, and I'm going to use my, in fact, let's see what my movement increments are. If I go to my settings, units and grid, let's do millimeters. We're going to do 1 millimeter on the shift arrow. We'll do 3 on the arrow, and we'll do 0.002 for control. Okay. So now I'm on just that middle one, and I'm holding shift, and I'm going to move it up 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'm going to take that back. I want to bring all 3 of those up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to select just those 2 outboard ones and come down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll go 3. We'll do a 3 and 3. And then you can do the same thing with the handles. Now, this is another trick that I suggest doing. You can try and design the whole thing and make it look good and symmetrical, but when you start messing with these handles, it's really difficult to keep the symmetry just right, or it's really, really tedious. So I get it close to what I want it to looking like using the handles and manipulating the pieces. And then I will cut it in half, duplicate it, mirror it, and then I'll have a perfectly symmetrical piece. But you can move these handles by just clicking on it and see it turn red there. And now I can use my shift arrow to start stretching that handle out. And I didn't lost count what it was, but we're going to go right there. And that's when I say, if you ain't paying attention, you're just going, okay, well, what was symmetry? Or was that right? Don't know. And I'll bring this one out a little bit here to give a little more funky curve going on there. And we'll bring this one in too to make that a little sharper. And that's just giving it a funky little scallop. And I kind of like that. And I'm not going to worry about this side over here because I'm only going to design half of it. Then I'm going to come down here to this bottom one, and I'm going to hover over it, and I'm going to hit the letter S for smooth. And that one, I'm going to hold shift and bring it down. Got to highlight it first, select that node, and then shift arrow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 might be too much. Let's do 3. We'll do 5. But now, with these handles being straight out, you see you got a little bit of a curve. It comes straight out and then curves down. But if you grab that handle and bring it down to the line to where it overlaps on itself, you'll just have a nice curve from there out and around. And I'm going to say I'm kind of starting to like that, but you know what? I think I will give that some more curve. And let's fix that handle. And if I want it to be a sharper curve, I can drag that handle on out here or bring it down. Yeah, let's do that. Again, this is just pure aesthetics. I'm drawing from the hip what looks good and what in my mind does the bed of a sled look like. Been a long time since I've been on one. I'd kill myself, or I wish I was dead if I got on one now. So now that I've got that done, looking here, I'm actually going to bring these on up a little more too. And bring that one back down. And bring that one down. There we go. That works. But now I've got half of that. And that looks like, well, what in the world? It looks like more of something from a horror show than anything resembling anything close to a sled. But here's what you do. Select that image, and we see we're 47 millimeters by 117 right now. So you just draw you out another rectangle. Tell it you want it to be 47 by 117. And we're going to put it, actually, you know what? Actually, I'm doing it the hard way. I'm going to cut that in half. It was 47, I think, wide. We're going to do that in math. And I don't even have to be smart. Lightburn will do it for us. So if this is my dimensions, it's 47 wide. All I got to do is come up here and just say 47 divided by 2 right there in that field, and it does the math for you. And now you can take that and tell it to align to the right side and make sure it's centered up. There we go. And now you can select that and select that, and you can do Control B so you can see what you want. Control B to bring up your Boolean tools. And is that, yep, that, nope, yeah, that one right there. That's the one we want. So select that, say OK. Control D to duplicate it, arrow it over, mirror it, hold Shift, select that one, Alt Shift H for horizontal alignment, and weld it together. And now you got a symmetrical shape. Did those last few steps go? Oh, what? Everybody with me still? Everybody still with me? We good? No questions? No comments? That's the way I try to design my pieces. It's half the work. You don't have to worry about trying to keep those nodes exactly in the right placement. You can design half of it the way you want it, then split it, mirror it, weld it, and it's perfectly symmetrical. All right. Mark that spot. Now, here's some tips to make the rest of the design process. Oh, wait a minute. Andy says, can you split the work in half with a line instead of a rectangle? You could do it. What's one of my favorite sayings? There's always another way. You could draw a line and go into node editing and select the nodes and break them and then delete half and then flip it and weld it. Or you could duplicate the whole thing and flip it with them overlaying each other, and then use the scissors to cut away the pieces that you don't want. But that would be, you could do it that way, but that'd be a lot of work. But by doing it with a line, and or if you just did it with the cut, if you had the rectangle and did an Alt Shift C for cut, it would cut it and it would be an open shape. Instead of, in fact, we'll go over here. I don't know that you could do it. You couldn't use a line as a cut tool, but if we said that was, what was it? It was 107. No, wrong button. Stupid. Not numlocks. Delete. There we go. 117 by 47. So if I drew out a rectangle, 47 divided by 2, 117. I keep forgetting to do that selector tool. Go away. And we align it to the right and the center. Now, a minute ago, I used the Boolean tools, but you could also use cut shapes. But with cut shapes, you would select the piece you want and then select the piece you're going to use as your cookie cutter and then Alt Shift C. And then you would have this piece highlighted that you wanted to keep. You can select that one and delete it and just control it. But now here, this is one thing I don't understand about Lightburn. This is an open shape. And there's nothing else on this tool bed right now. Nothing but that open shape. But when I flip back over here to look, it's part of a group. Part of a group of what? Ain't nothing there. See, it shows that it's grouped together and you can ungroup it. But there's nothing else on this tool bed except for that one line. And because it's grouped, you cannot weld that together whenever you duplicate it. So before you would duplicate that, you would ungroup it. And now you see it's a single piece. And I've even searched for it. I said, okay, you know what? Let's grab just that line, move that over here and see if there's anything on there. And there is nothing else on that tool bed except for that piece. It's grouped with something, but there wasn't anything there. But now it's an open path opposed to being a closed shape. You can still do it. Control D, duplicate it, move it over, mirror it, move it over more, Alt Shift H, and then weld it. But see there, that didn't come together the way that you want it to. And that's why I don't like using Alt Shift C. I did an Alt Shift C and it should have been a perfect cut. It kind of lines up down here, but it's got a funky upturn to it. So can you do it with a line or cut shapes? Yes, you can. It creates a little bit more work. And I like doing, there's one shape there and there. Control B. Oh, come on. Not Control B. Come on. My fingers are not wanting to cooperate. Control B for my. Oh, I broke it apart. I'm on, stupid. There's one piece. There's one piece. Control B. There we go. And now, see, that's a closed shape. And it's going to be symmetrical whenever. And did I not have that? I didn't have it centered or something. Whenever I moved it. All right. So put that on the center and the left. Control D, duplicate, mirror it back over. Alt, let's see, select that one, Alt Shift H. See, y'all I done got all boogered up. There's always another way, but sometimes you get in your own way and you mess things up. So let's get back to where I had. There's my original piece, 47 by 117. $47 divided by 2, 117, 114, 117. Selector, delete. This time change has got me boogered up. I am exhausted and it's only 9:40, but it should be 10:40. There and there. Now let's see if it cuts it clean this time. Control B. Okay. Nope, I still that little artifact. They didn't do that a minute ago. I must have done something screwy, but that's all right. Because you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to make that bigger. And that's going to make it a clean cut. Select that, and Control B. And OK, and Control D, duplicate, move it over, mirror it, Alt Shift H, and weld it. There we go. All right, now, squirrel, got sidetracked there. Chris says, Lightburn tries to predict what you are likely to do next in some cases. Gets it right most, but not all the times. Yeah. All right, so now that I've got this shape, that's the shape I want to cut my bed with. You need to duplicate this. Sorry, guys. Boy, I don't know when I went. It must have been when I dropped something. All right. Did we lose sound? Yeah, Chris. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I'm fumbling and flustered today. My fingers are not doing what I want, and I'm blaming it on the time change. So I'm blaming it on the time change. So I'll explain that again. You've seen it, but I'm going to explain that again. So you hear what I'm doing. Because I like this distribution tool to evenly space out product without having to do the array and do any kind of math, figuring out what you want. Because when you do the array tool, you can set up the array. You've got your slat size. You know what it's going to be. And you can tell it what spacing you want to be. And there's also the option in the array tool to tell it what you want over. There's always another way. But this one, in my opinion, requires the least amount of thunking. I don't have to thunk as much when I do it this way. So for my simple brain, this is what I like to do. And I'll explain it one more time so you can hear me. So the overall width of this piece is 47 millimeters wide. And I want 5 slats to go across there. I'm just going to draw any old rectangle. And I'm going to make it large enough to overlap that entire piece. So I know I want my height to be 115 millimeters. That's going to be plenty big enough. I know it's 47 millimeters wide. So I come up here and I say 47 millimeters divided by 5 slats equals 9.4. And then I want to put, I think it's a 2 millimeter spacing looks good. And if you subtract 1 from that, once you get them spaced out in here, it comes out to either 2 or 2.5 or 3. We'll see. But it looks good. So I'll take my selector tool. Select that one, and tell it to align to the left. And you can tell it to make sure it's centered up just so you've got everything covered. Now that's 1 slat. All I've got to do is select that, duplicate it with a Control D, hold my Shift key, select that, and tell it to align right. And I could have used that one. It wouldn't matter. Now I need 3 more slats. So with either one of those selected, I'm going to hit Control D 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So now I've got 3 on top of that one is 4, plus this one's 5. Dragging from right to left, that selects all 5 of them. And I can use this distribute tool up here, or distribute tool. Distribute objects horizontally with even spaces between them. And it just does it because you've got your left and right parameters set, and it will set those up with the proper spacing, and it looks good. I like that. And it's quick, easy to do. Let's see here. Now, you've got this one over here, and we're going to use it in a minute. But now I'm going to take these, and they're going to be just simple cut paths to cut that shape up to give it what I want. So I got to group them first. Now that they're grouped, hold my Shift button and select my original piece. And I know actually I could say A is my original piece, hold my Shift button and select the group, and that's B. And this is A subtract B right here. And I know that. But if you're still getting comfortable with the Boolean tools, doesn't matter which one you select. You select your group, and then you select the other one, hit Control B to bring up the Boolean assistant. And you can just go over each of those until you get the one you want. There it is right there. Do I want that? No. That's the one you want. Say okay. And now you've got your bed ready. Now, those are individual pieces. No, they're not. They are grouped. I'll make sure, yep, they're grouped. All right, so that's good. You want to keep them grouped. Now, why did I make this duplicate? I'm going to make another duplicate. Control D, duplicate. And I'm going to, what are my movement increments? My move increments were, 3. That's right. So now I'm just going to up arrow 1 time. And that's not enough. We'll give it 1 more. There we go. So that's 6 millimeters. Now, I didn't do this whenever I was doing my design. So this is going to be a new, hey, will that work? I think it'll work. And if it does, it's going to be really, really cool because I did it a much more difficult way. With those two pieces there, duplicated, spaced apart, that top section is going to be a perfectly symmetrical piece to work for a handle for the sled. And I'm going to try to use this new scissor tool to create that from those two shapes. Now, and if you're not aware of this, the scissor tool will not work with a group. So if you've got a group and you want to try and you've got to ungroup everything and then grab your scissors. Right now, none of this is grouped, so we should be able to just select them. In fact, the scissors work with where they overlap each other. So I'm going to, and that's why I don't know if this is going to work. I want to cut down here, get rid of that one, get rid of that one, get rid of that one, and get rid of that one. Yes, sir, it worked. Boy, that was slick as owl snot. That was cool. That was really cool. I wished I'd have thought about that when I did the original design. All right, now I got that, and I'm going to take that and center it up over here. And I'm going to arrow it up. And that would be the placement that I would put for that handle. That was pretty slick, wasn't it? I wasn't sure I was going to like that scissor tool or have much use for it since I'm really proficient with nodes. But I could have done that with node editing or cut shapes or a couple. But I don't think any of them have been quite that slick and quite that easy. So a salute to Jason and the guys at Lightburn for that scissor tool. I'm beginning to really like that. Let's see here. And I'm sorry about muting this stupid thing. Let's see here. Got a lot. Good. I love seeing all those numbers. And anybody new to the channel, all those numbers just mean that the folks are indicating that they have learned something new. So in this instance, Nipa's saying, hey, I learned 3 new things so far. And that was a pretty slick deal there with the scissors and 2 overlapping pieces to create that symmetrical piece. That was slick. All right, marking my spot. All right, now let's jump back over to Lightburn because now that was really kind of the and we're not even going to do the challenging part yet. We're going to do the next easy part. We're going to do the runners. And then once we've got the runners designed, then we're going to the challenging part of this, and for some it's really something they wrestle with and they have a hard time, they grapple with this, is the alignment and the placement of the slots and getting the slots and tabs all lined up and being able to see all this in 3 dimensions and get everything so that you can cut it out and slide together. I'm going to show you how I do it. And typically I don't have a problem getting my alignment. I usually get those right the first time. Sometimes I have issues with my overall design and have to go back and tweak the design. But my slots and tabs, I can usually get those lined up right the first time, the way I do it. And there's always another way. So if anybody's watching that does it differently, I'm sure there's another way to do it, but I'll show you how I do it. All right. So got my swig. Let's jump back over. All right, let's create the runners. Now, as I said, the wooden sleigh, it rides really high compared to some of those Western Flyers and the metal sleds. I'm going to start with a rectangle again. And actually, before I do, I want to take a look at this overall length. All right, this overall length is 109.02. In fact, I'm just going to take that and I'm going to move it up. I think a 0.02 is what I had it for control. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yep, nope. It's close. It's 109. All right. In fact, the way that I did the sled, the front part of the runners protrude out a little bit past the front steering mechanism, but I wanted to keep them hidden inside of it. And since it curves back here, I'm going to go ahead and start with 109 and see what it looks like. And my material is going to be, got to draw a rectangle, dum-dum. My material I'm working with is going to be 3 millimeters wide, give or take. So I'm going to draw its profile first. 3 millimeter profile, 3 millimeters wide, and I want to do 109 millimeters in height. And I'm going to, right now, for design purposes, I'm going to ungroup this. Now I can grab this runner and grab this one and tell it to go to center of that. And we'll go ahead and actually, we'll just center it, period. All right, now there is sticking out way too low. I don't want that. We're going to align it to the bottom of that. Oh, got to get both of them. That one and align. No, I moved the wrong one. I want to align that one to the bottom of that one. All right. And see, it still needs to come off a little bit, but I'm not hating that length there where it protrudes out in the front. So now I'll just come down here to the bottom and just shorten. Oh, I want to move the whole thing. Undo. Grab just the runner. Grab just the runner and shrink the bottom in until it's inside that, about there. Just going by looks. And I'll say Control D, duplicate it, and we'll put it over here on that one just so that we can see the symmetry, see what the design's looking like. So now I have, by doing that, I have determined what my size needs to be of this runner. It's 103. Well, in fact, just for round numbers, get rid of that one. We're just going to make that one just 103, period. I'm going to make my anchor, and I've pointed this out in videos before. Some people have grasped it. Some people haven't. Some people may have never seen it until now. The anchor points, that's what I named them. That's what I call them. And it works for me because I used to live on a boat too. And you drop anchor. And when you drop anchor with your boat, your anchor road might be 35, 40 feet, maybe 50 feet long, depending on how deep your water is. And that means your boat would rotate around the anchor road or around the anchor. The boat's going to move with the wind and the current, but the anchor never moves. So that's what those 9 dots are for me. These are anchor points. So here I've positioned that runner where I want it to be in relation to the bottom of this. I don't want that to move. So I'm going to change my anchor right here. I'm going to drop anchor to that bottom center. And now I'm going to come up here and just change my height to 103 millimeters. And that way it draws it down here and never moves that. And my position won't change. I've just made it a nice round or even a whole number, I should say. Now I'll duplicate that and put it back over there. I don't need it over there, but I just want it over there while I'm designing so I know what I'm looking at. So now I've got my measurements. I'm going to duplicate that, bring it over here. And now I'm going to create the profile of that. So I know it's going to be 103 millimeters. I'm going to need to invert these, 103. And in this instance, I wanted them to be about 25 mil high. I wanted it to be tall because that's the way that most of the images I've seen when I was researching these, they rode really high. So I did it 25 mil high and got my length. Now, that's not the shape I want it to be. Well, I'm going to use my control button again to give it radius. And there's my control that pops up that little circle right there, blue dot right there. And I'm going to use that and I'm going to radius it all the way in. Completely rounded over so it's, the radiuses meet each other in the middle. No partial radius. Now I need to create some of the characteristics of it. And I'm going to do that by using the offset tool. And here you need to start thinking about, and I'm designing this at its smallest intended use as far as I'm concerned. If you were to take this design and you made it smaller, with the way I've designed it, it may make things really, really, really fragile. But if you blow it up, it's not going to be an issue because you've designed it really small. So now I'm needing to think about my offsets and how thick the rails are going to be. And I need to create reinforcements in different places. And so I don't want these things to be super, super fragile, because the idea is it's going to be a Christmas ornament. And you hope it's going to be around for a year or 2 or 3 or 10. But if you got a cat and it loves to climb the Christmas trees, then this thing's probably going to hit the ground 100 times before the first season's over. And this one is done with no reinforcement between the blades. And so they need to be pretty sturdy in and of themselves so that they can take a little bit of physical abuse and not worry about breaking them. But you need to be thinking about that in your initial design, or else you'll have a nice piece that's custom and really delicate and pretty and not worth anything because it's super, super fragile. So I've got my initial shape. So my material thickness, the width of my plywood is 3 millimeters. So I want my offset to be a minimum of 3 millimeters. So that gives it a nice square profile. So if you a cut profile, if you were to bisect it or cut it and look at it. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to come here, my offset tool, and I'm going to do an inward offset of 3 millimeters. Do not delete the original. Now I'm of course using round, and say okay. All right. Now I've got the beginning of a runner, but I need this up here to be open. And I want to have this come and curve back down in and on itself. So the way I did it was, let's group this for a second. I think, come on here, get my circle, my ellipse tool. I'm gonna come right down here and get the bullseye, the arrow. Is it going to do it when it's grouped? Nope, I'm going to need to get it ungrouped. Got ahead of myself. Ungroup that. And again, guys, there's probably another way to do this. This is just the way I did it. Come in here, get my, where is it? I just seen it a second ago. Well, I think that's it. It's not giving me my circle, though. I'm going to hold my shift and control and draw out a perfect circle. And actually, you know what? I don't even have to do all that. I can just draw out a circle anywhere. And what is the overall height of that? It's 25 mil, right? So I'm going to make that circle. Sometimes I overthink things. 25 mil circle. And now if I take that and I put it right there, actually, again, just that selected, hold shift, select that, align it to the left and align it to the center. And now she's perfectly lined up. And there is the beginning of the curve that I want. So if I select that and do another offset, 3 mil, say, okay. Guess what we're going to use? I'm going to start running around the room. I'm going to grab my scissors. They're all ungrouped. Now, before I do that, I'm getting ahead of myself again. I can't cut that because you see how it's highlighted? That's going to cut all the way around, and I don't want to do that. I do want to cut that. No, I don't want to even cut all that out. So what I got to do before I start my cuts is that's 25 mil. I want to keep the bottom quarter of that. Always another way. This is the way I did it. I drew me a square, a perfect square, holding shift, draw out a square. And that's 25 mil high. So I'm going to do aspect ratio locked and tell it to do a 12.5 mil square. And then I'm going to grab that and I'm going to put it right in the center, right there. And there is going to be my intersection lines that I'll cut to. And now over here, I'm going to draw out another rectangle. And we'll just tell it to be, or actually we'll do it, not a rectangle. We'll do another square. 3. Got too many decimals in there. 3 and 3. And I'm going to align it to the left of that one. Or maybe not. I know what I'll do. I'll bring it down here. It's going to come in here, but and actually this length may be changed once I put it on the sled. So this length right here is not as crucial because I now remember I had to change it. So now I've got demarcation lines, what needs to be cut. So now I can run with my scissors. I want to get rid of that piece, that piece. That did something funky. All right, undo that. Let's that stay in. That goes. That goes. That goes. That goes. Now that stays. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. That. Don't know why it did that. Oh, wait a minute. What have I got? Do I have 2 copies on there? No, that's right. That's the circle. That was the original piece. I don't want to do that. All right. Now, see, I did not use the scissors when I did this the first time. I thought I was going to be slick because you see how slick the scissors were before. So I'm going to undo this back to my templates where my shapes were. And I'm going to do what I did when I was designing it. And I used cut shapes and welding and all that good fun stuff. So, because I don't know why it's doing that. The scissors work really, really great sometimes. And eventually I might figure this out, why it's doing what it's doing. But I'm not liking it's not giving me a quick and easy result like it did on that first piece. So I'm going to undo back to where I had my hole shapes. All right. So now I can actually take selector tool, grab these 2, the circle and that quadrant. I want that right there. So I'm going to group those 2 together. With those grouped, hold that and cut it. Nope, wrong cut. Or actually, no, that would work too, because that's the shape. Right there's what I want. So I'm going to align it to the left. And, oh, I didn't have those grouped. Way to go, numbnuts. Group them. So that aligned to the left and to the center. And now I could take, now let's try, that line's in the way. I'm going to say, I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to stretch it and say A, subtract B. And that gives me a cut, defined line right there. And then I'm going to, I'll try the scissors again, see if I get some that. There we go. And now with that trimmed away, I can select that piece, hold my shift, select that piece and weld them together. Nope, it's not going to let me weld them. We'll use, those are, let's try the scissors. Cut away, cut away. And now, can I select just that line? We'll put, that gives me that shape. We'll put it on the toolpath. All right. That is not welded to that. That's still separate. Well, boys and girls, I said I did this and trying to use the scissors, trying to do a new way so we can both learn, but that didn't work out the way I wanted it to. And now, and here's what I was talking about earlier about cutting and open shapes. What I've got here is, if I turn off that toolpath so you can see it, see, that's open. And since it's an open shape, it's not letting me weld it. Well, I can fix that real quick. All I got to do is just come down here, get my intersection, and I'm using the wrong path. Let's do a red and just draw a straight line from there. Why is it not letting me do a straight line in red? Red, show. All right. Something's happening here, and it's not me now. We'll turn that back on because I'm on. Oh, because I didn't have the pencil tool. It is me. Golly. Select your pencil, dum-dum. Start a line, draw a line, and intersect it. Now that that's a closed shape, turn that back on. Turn it on the same path. And now you've got two closed shapes. Now, I say you should be able to weld them. I see your comments there, Chris, but I'm not following you. Just, it's probably still an open path. File, edit, close path. There we go. And still not. So I guarantee it's still an open path, even though I said close path. Edit. Nope, that's closed. Is this one open? Edit. Yep, close path. And so here, while this is not perfection, I'm fumbling and struggling, and I've already designed this a couple of times, and I've got working prototypes. But by me showing you, hey, it don't work always right the way exactly like you want it to, but it's knowing what to look for. You know, I've got two shapes there, and they appeared to be closed, but I wasn't having the option to do the Boolean weld. So first thing I do, go look and see, was it an open shape? Yes, it was. Closed it. I hadn't checked the other one. It was an open shape too. So knowing what to look for when you don't have those can save you from pulling your hair out sometimes. And had I done a rehearsed, perfectly practiced, putting this together, you may not have seen that screw up, and you wouldn't have learned as much. Why I'm stopped, we'll go back in here and look and see if there's any questions here. It's cost of the nodes of the original circle. Yeah, well, it was the open shapes. I screwed it up whenever I did what I did, trying to play with the scissors instead of doing what I did. So back over here. So now I have two closed shapes. So I can select the one shape, select the other shape, and son of a gun, I still don't have a Boolean right there. What? Did that one not close when I told it to? Tools. Close path. I'm telling it to close path, and it's not closed. But here's what, and this is another perfect close path. All right, so Chris is saying it's got to do with the nodes. All right, so that one I know is closed. It's open up there. That's why I put that on a toolpath and turn off that toolpath. So using those scissors messed me up, little boys and girls. So now I'll grab that, and I'm in my pencil mode. I'm in my red toolpath, and get my bullseye and there to there. And now we'll select that in nodes and make sure we've got a closed path. And that looks like we got it that time. Turn that back on. Turn that back on to the red layer. Now we should be able to pull, now we should be able to pull that one and that one. And yes, we have Boolean and we weld it. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All right. So there's the beginning of my rails, I drew a blank on what the proper runners. There we go. There's the beginning of my runners. But because of this, it's going to be super fragile. It's got to have some reinforcement in there. And I don't like these flat edges on here. So I'm going to go ahead and go right back into node editing. Not there. That's tabs. Node editing. put an M for middle and an M for middle. I should have put S on the other one too. S, S. And now I'm just going to take that and I'm going to arrow it down. That might be a little bit much. Just about half of that, give or take. And now I want to round that over. And to do that, I'm just going to take and draw it down to the line. Draw that down to the line. And that just gives it a nice round edge. There we go. That works. And same thing here. Just bring it out. This is just based on whatever looks good right here at the time. And if it needs to be changed or edited after the fact, once you start putting it together, because this was what I had to change on my sled once I got it all put together. The length of that was too long. All right. So there's the beginning of my runners. Now I'm going to use my rule and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to measure that length right there. That straight line from that corner to where the radius starts. That's 61.3 millimeters, according to my segment length over here. When I've got that highlighted, come around, don't touch nothing. There we go. I touched something. What happened? It was showing me 61 millimeters, and now it's not. Golly. There we go, 61.32 millimeters. So, okay. I'm going to draw out a rectangle. And I'm just going to say 60 mil. And then I want to measure from here to here, which is 19 mil. And if I bring that and snap it to that corner right there, that's where I'm going to put my reinforcements. Now to create my reinforcements, I'm going to, and because I know how it's going to overlap, I'm actually going to reduce this side down to about there because the way I do my offsets is going to bring it back out there. Now I'm going to grab my pencil tools. On the runner ends, would arc work instead of node editing? Yes, there's always another way. I'm going to grab my pencil tool and actually, depending on how many cross braces you want in here, I'm just going to come in here and try and do start a pencil there. Come down here and find the middle right there. Come back up here, snap it, stop drawing, come up here, start, find the middle right there, and back down to the other corner. And now I've got those. I can select both of those, do an offset 3 millimeters outward, actually 1.5 millimeters. Because it's going to go out in both directions. That's 1.5 mil. So I can say, okay, delete the original. And now I'm looking there and I'm like, okay, I want that a little lower. I want that angle to be here on that line. So I'm just going to hold control and draw that out to where I'm about there, give or take. And hold my shift button, select that, and weld them together. It's going to create some bumps up there, but that's no big deal. I can get rid of this guy. I don't need it anymore. Because now I can just go into node editing, select that, go into node, ungroup it all, go into node editing, and I'm just going to come right down through there, select all those nodes except for that last one, and hit the letter D to delete it. That keeps it there. And then I'm going to select all of them. There, delete, delete. Get in here, get rid of those. And now I can just grab all those and delete there. And I've just created some cross bracing to stiffen up my pieces. So now that is potentially one of the runners. Now I'm going to jump over here and look at your comments and questions. I think I have more comments than I do questions. There's my spot. Yeah, yep, they got that. All right, Chris. Chris says it took me about 3 weeks of playing with the scissors to learn about 70% of how it works. Yeah, I'm still learning, obviously. It works really awesome sometimes, and it probably works awesome all the time when you know what you're doing with them. But I'm still in 3rd grade running with scissors. All right, done. Now, so I've got the basic shape of the sled and the basic shape of the runner. Now the fun part. How to put all these pieces together. How to get everything lined up. Let's jump in here. So I've got this piece, and I have it at 103 mil long from top to bottom. That's 103. That's good. So they are the right dimensions. Now, what I need to do is I'm going to come over here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to group it all. Let's group all that, keep it together. I'm going to bring this over here and rotate it to where it's kind of in the position it needs to be in. Align it to the top of that. So now that's kind of the position it's going to be on the sled, right? Okay. So that's why I did these profiles. I've got a cutaway top view looking down on those runners. And that's where they're going to be positioned on those slats of the sled. So I can see right now I'm going to need a tab sticking up, and I'm going to put it right about here, and I'm going to hold shift and draw out a perfect square. And I need it to be a 3 millimeter square. And I didn't have my anchor point in the middle, so it doesn't matter. I didn't have it positioned exactly where I want it. I'm going to put it right about there. Now, you do not want to put it at the end of your piece, because if with the radius on here, it might work out okay. It would have kept, if I put it at the corner and the radius starts out at the corner, it would have kept that corner node. But if you had a flat, straight line, a flat edge, in fact, let me just show you why. And because this is crucial when you're designing tabs and slots from raw, doing it yourself, not using anything, not using any tools to do it. I'm going to draw out just a straight line right here, and then I'm going to draw out a tab. And I want to take that tab and I'm going to align it here to the top, and then Alt-Shift-V, right? Not Alt-Shift-V, Control-D, Alt-Shift-H. Did the wrong thing again. I want to put that down here at the very corner. So if I would have done that over here, if with this radius, it's going to be a little bit different. But if you didn't have a radius on there and you put your tab, let's see, I want that tab to line up to that. So, okay, I'm going to weld those together. Why ain't it letting me weld nothing? Overlap them. All right. I got, no, that's one. That's one. What is going on? Oh, there's something up there. What's up there? Okay, there we go. Now weld. All right. So there's a tab that's on that piece there. But Lightburn will not recognize that as a tab when you put it right up against the end of the piece. Because when Lightburn is looking for tabs, and why is this important? Because if you're going to be designing something and you want to scale it or have it scalable so you can use it with various wood thicknesses, or you're very, very particular when you're cutting your pieces out and you're miking them and you say, okay, well, this one's 3.2. I need this to be 3.2 and not 3. Then you need to be able to adjust your tabs in Lightburn. And when Lightburn is doing that, it's looking for 4 nodes. Well, by putting that on the corner and we go to nodes, We've got 1, 2, 3. That fourth one's way down here. And since it's not parallel with this, Lightburn will not recognize that as a tab. So if we were to bring that piece just slightly inboard, and then you weld those together. And here, another thing. That's 9 millimeters. And if I wanted that to be a 9 millimeter tab, I could take the time to place that right up there perfect and weld those up. Sometimes it don't always work. Sometimes it's not worth the trouble to do that. Select both pieces, weld them together, and then if you look at your nodes, just so you can see them, so you got 4 nodes there now, all parallel together. So that's crucial when you're designing. You have to have 4 nodes in order to make this tool work. Tools, resize, slots, and selection. I know it was somewhere around 8.5 because I changed it, and I want it to be 9. I'm going to increase my tolerance, and I want it to be tab height. I'm going to increase my tolerances until I see it. There it is, and say, okay, apply, and okay. So I didn't have to worry about getting that positioned exactly where I wanted it because I was able to use the tool in Lightburn to make it what I wanted after I welded it. So a little bit of a U-turn, or not a U-turn, but side road, because it's crucial. It's crucial to understand why things need to be placed, when they're placed, where they're placed, or else your design won't work. So now back over to getting those placements, all the placements. So there's why we're going to move it away from the edge of that piece to weld that up there. But before I do, I've made sure that this and this are aligned at the top of each other. So now I can take this piece and I'm going to Control D, duplicate it, and I'm going to put it in the center of this piece. And I'm going to do the same thing, Control D, duplicate it, and put it in the center of this piece. Now, since I just moved them straight across, they should be aligned to each other, but you could check them individually and just say, hey, are you guys all aligned on your horizontal centers? And yes, they are. So now that tab is where it needs to be for that piece. This is going to be a hole in the top of the sled. Now, I'm going to select all of those, Control D, duplicate them, and just slide them straight down until I get it to where it's inside this radius right there. If I scroll up, there's those, I get the crosshairs. That shows me where that radius starts. So I want to be inside of that with that tab, or else I'll have the same problem I was showing you up there a minute ago. So there, that placement is going to be good. And that's going to be proper placement for those. So now I've got the placement for my runners, and I've got the cut holes in the top of the sled. Now I want it to look like those are rivets, if you will, where the slats are riveted to, or being that it's a wooden sled, they could be metal rivets. Maybe they're dowels or whatever. I want to continue that symmetry on all 5 of those slats. So if I simply do the same thing I did a minute ago when I created the slats, if I select these 2 guys right there, group them, and I need 3 more sets of them, hit Control D 3 times, 1, 2, 3, come over here and select just this top one. Is it going to let me? No, I got to do it separate. I got to do it the other way. I need to grab all of those. So now I've got the 3 copies plus the original. Then I select that one and tell it to distribute. There it moved all those perfectly centered up in those pieces. And now I'm going to select all of those and put them on a black layer. Those are going to be engraved. So now it'll engrave 3 black squares perfectly parallel to these tabs that protrude through the top. So it gives you that look, that symmetry. I've still got to put my welded bar in there so that all 5 of those stay together. I didn't do that in the first design I thought about, and I was having to think about, okay, Do I want to put some engraved lines so I can know where the exact placement is? And I'm thinking, wait a minute, these things are going to be just a little bit bigger than a toothpick. I don't want to be trying to handle and align individual pieces. So turn off the black layer. And now I'm going to take this piece right here and I'm going to say Control D, duplicate it. And I'm going to air it over just a wee bit. And then I'm going to hold my, not even going to have to hold anything. I'm just going to come over here to that middle set and I'm going to drag it out until it overlaps right there. Come down here, Control D, duplicate it, air it over until I get it right there and drag it out, overlapping. Now I'm going to select these three, group those together, hold my shift button, select that and weld it. That gave me those three. I didn't get all of them, dummy. Or did I give me, no, I just gave me the middle three. I need to get those other two. All right, so now what I'm going to do to keep from confusing myself, I need to undo. There we go. I'm going to grab this guy, hold my control button, and drag that out past that one so I can see it. That's overlap there. Same thing up here. Drag it out past it so I can see that. There we go. And now come down here, grab all 5 of those, group those, hold shift, select that, weld it together, select shift, and weld those together. And now I can turn those back on. And you can see that's now one solid piece with everything properly lined up and symmetry's done. All looks good. Those are going to stay as holes to engrave in there. I'm actually done with these 2 guys, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not sure if I'm done with them. So I'm not going to delete them. I'm going to put them on a toolpath and turn the toolpath off. So they're still there if I need them, and I don't have to worry about having to recreate them or undo a bunch of things if I need to pull them back up. Now these guys, this one and this one, I'm going to group them together. Now, in fact, we'll just try something here. That's all grouped. That's fine. Hold shift and group and select. I'm going to try and weld them. It might work. It might not work. I positioned them where it should work. So we hit weld. It didn't do it. And so that's why I say sometimes instead of trying to worry about the exact positioning and getting them just right and weld them, I don't even bother with that anymore. I'll go ahead and overlap them, weld them together, take the measurement. What is it what did I just create? And then set it to what I want it to be. So we're going to undo. So now I have those grouped, and I'm going to come in here and you can see I'm going to hold my shift button, bring that in, they're overlapped. Now with those overlapped, I can grab that, weld them together. Now grab my ruler and measure them, and that's 2 millimeters. So I can say, okay. Now, because that's grouped, it's not going to let me use my resize slots and selection tool as a group. So you got to ungroup it. Tools, resize slots and selection, the old material thickness, 2 millimeters, the new material thickness, 3 millimeters. Oh, and I'm glad I did that because that brings up another thing I got to show you. I've got the tolerance set. Here, Lightburn is wanting to resize that as a slot depth, and that would be a problem. You do not need to or ever need to resize this area. You don't want to bring this down inside there. You need to resize the tab height to 3 millimeters. Say, okay. Now, to prevent that from happening, to keep Lightburn from even thinking that that is a slot, what did I tell you? You had to have a minute ago for it to recognize it as a tab. 4 nodes. Same thing for a slot. If you have 4 nodes that are parallel to each other, it can be either a slot or a tab. In fact, take a look at this. You just seen it recognize that as a slot. If I take and measure this, and what is that distance? That's 51 millimeters. Say, okay. I'm going to come here to tools, resize slots and selection. Old material thickness is 51 millimeters. And let's see here. There we go. See, I can change that distance because it only sees these 4 nodes. Well, to keep any of that from even being possible, all you got to do is go into node editing and come in here. And it doesn't matter where you put it. If you put a node anywhere in here to break those nodes up, it won't see those anymore. Personally, because I like my symmetry, I put in a middle node right there. And now that's 3 millimeters. And if I try to use that tool, resize slots and selection, tell it 3 millimeters and slot width, it no longer recognizes that as a slot and doesn't try to move it because that one node right there disrupts that whole thing. And on my designs, when you go to hobowithwood.com and buy those designs, I do these things so that you don't have to worry about it, that when you tell it to resize a slot or a tab, it's only going to resize what you want it to. So now, while we're stopped, anything pop up? We got that, we got that, we got that. All right, we'll make a mark and move on in the design. We're an hour and a half in. We're right at a little over 90 minutes, and we're about done with this. Just about done with this. Say okay. So now I've got one. I've got my back, and I've got my handle up here. Now, up here, the one thing I didn't do is I did not put a place. I need to put a tab up here to mount these onto. So I'm going to group all of that back together. Make sure it's still aligned to the top. I did move it. So there, that's aligned properly. Now, if I bring this over here, oh, all right, I did something. I moved something somewhere when I did something. That's okay, because I know that needs to be aligned right there with that corner. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. So now I know where that needs to go. But what I'm looking at is I actually want to have this. When I put the tab on here, I want it to be in the middle of this alignment of that guy. So I'm actually going to grab that. And there's the middle right there. When I get that circle, that's the middle of that line. And I'm going to drag it up. I'm not going to worry about right there. Once I got that dot or that circle over there, that's the high point on that radius, and that's going to give me my optimum position for that tab. Now, I moved that over. That's not an issue right now. I'm going to go ahead and take that. That's selected, and I'm going to select this and move it to the center. There we go. I'm going to move this one over here, just straight over out of the way. And if I come right down here with my square rectangle tool, and I find that dot right there again, hold my shift and control and draw out from there, that's going to put it perfectly positioned on the, and I've got it on, and put it on the cut path so we can see it. There we go. So that's the right position for it. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to size it. Aspect ratio 3 mil. So now that's the right size, but I ain't worried about the height right yet because we're going to do the same thing as we did a minute ago. But over here, selector tool, man, I do that all the time. Control D, duplicate that. And with that, I didn't change the position on these. I just moved one to the left, one to the right. So now I can select one of those and tell this to align to that vertical center. So that's going to be a little bit of a placement issue. So, okay. All right. So what I'm going to need to do then is I'm going to need to cheat a little bit. I'm going to have to bring this up. In fact, what I'm seeing here, if I do this at 3 mil, I didn't make my handle large enough. Oh no, I got to start all over again. I got to go because the handle was the third thing I created. Wrong. Show. All right. all I've got to do, I thought I kept my originals over here, but I must have deleted those. You shouldn't delete anything until you're done. Had I kept those original two pieces that I cut those from, oh, that's why, because I cut them out of that to create it. I could have recreated it, but there's an even easier way to do this. Do not be intimidated by nodes. Do not let nodes freak you out. Nodes can be your friend, because in this instance, I haven't put the radiuses on the outside of that handle yet. So they're still perfectly square. And I just need to make it a wider piece. But I want to keep those contours exactly the same. So to make sure nothing changes on that, I'm going to come over here, select that piece, go into node editing, and I'm just going to select all of these nodes, And my arrow movement right now, holding shift arrow, is 1 millimeter. So there's 1, 2, 3. We're going to make it 3 millimeters. Actually, we're going to do 4 millimeters bigger than it was. And now I'm going to take that and I'm going to move it up until it's, in fact, I could eyeball this and kind of get it close to center, but I don't have to eyeball it. All I need, I've got 2 known points. If I come in here, I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, and I'm going to do it on the T1 path. I've got that point right there. I'm going to draw a rectangle to right there, that known point. And now I'll take that square, put it in the center of that piece, and that centered it up. Get rid of that. So now I've got the placement for that. I still haven't changed anything here. So now all I got to do is take that and select that and tell it to align to the center. And now that's where that needs to be. Now I need to make sure that that's going to be 3 mils whenever I get it all put together. That little bit of a curve is going to be a small issue, but we're going to fix that easy enough. I'm going to take this. We're going to ungroup it. And I'm going to come out here, and I'm going to come about right there, and I'm going to go into node editing, put a node right here by letter I, insert a node. Now, the reason I'm putting a node right there, putting that node there anchors that curve all the way around. Nothing from that node on will change. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I want to insert a node right there. So that anchors that part of the curve. So now I can actually take this and hovering over that section, tell it to be L for line, get rid of that curve. And then if I want to make that flat, I'm going to come up here and grab my arrow, come over here and grab a tool path. And I'm going to come over here right there. And I'm going to go back to node editing. I'm going to insert a node right here. I for insert. And I'll bring that right up there. That just gives me a nice flat area. Get rid of that. I can take that. And also what I need to do is I need to make sure that the overall height is going to be the same. So if I'm going to put that right there. So there, from there to there is 3 mil. And that's perfectly lined up with that plane. I need to make sure I did not change that up here. And that's going to be fine. So now all I got to do, get rid of that toolpath again. Select that and Alt-Shift-H. Oh, went the wrong way, Conway, because it went to that side. And because I am on my work area, I can use my docking tools. My docking tools are up here, and I want to dock it to the left with no padding. So just say dock, and it shoots it right over there. Hold shift, select that, and weld it together. And then I can double check that it's still recognized as a tab, tools, resize slots and selection, tab height in there because I've got that node and that node that sees those four creating that, and it's going to work. And say, okay. So now I've got one runner. We'll group it, Control D, bring it over there. Now I got two runners. Control D, duplicate that, put it in the center of that. Oh, don't want to do that. Well, actually, just turn them off for right now. But that, let's see here, tools, 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 import, desktop, Sled, ornament, open. So here, the other thing I forgot is I knew I was forgetting something, the circle for your rope. So whenever you download the file, if you go to the hobowithwood.com and get this, in fact, banners, show, if you go to hobowithwood.com, instead of going through all this, this was a very simple and easy file to do, even with me stumbling around. And I was experimenting tonight a little bit with the scissors and kind of fumbled it up a little bit. But I included both sets of the runners. I've got one set here with no hole in here, so that if you're going to use it as a tabletop piece and you don't want that, you don't need them, don't do it. But up here, I've got one with the hole in it, so you can put a rope in it. Here, you can elect to have a rope just display, or in fact, we'll come down here to this piece. How did I create that? Well, created a circle, and I did not do my shift button. That's okay, because we're going to put that on a red path, and we're going to unlock, and we'll just tell it to do 6 mil and 6 mil, do an inward offset. Say okay. I didn't mean to delete that. Golly. Do not delete. Okay. Now I've got two pieces. Bring that down here. And I'm actually going to make that one 8 mil. You can make them whatever you need to. And I'm going to make it a little bit. There we go. If I group those together, now you can place that anywhere you want to. Now, what I try to do is I do not overlap my smallest or the inner circle beyond. I don't overlap it. I don't put it up here like that, because that would create an indentation in that runner. So I will actually find the top center right about there and put it right against that, and then weld those together like that. And that creates that piece there. And now you've got an eyelet to run some rope through. And if you don't want to do it there, undo. If you're going to do it on a tabletop piece and you're not going to hang it from a tree, but you want the rope to appear like it's coming from the under the runner or the steering mechanism, bring it over here, and just do the same thing. Weld it up over here, there, and weld. And now you've got your eyelet there. And as we've seen in, let's see here, see if I can pull up Robert's picture again. Here. Nope, I've already got it closed. Gmail. Boy, y'all doing some emailing. Robert. Not that one. There. It doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look out of place. That looks pretty good. All right. Comments, questions, comments. All right. Y'all still got a few with it. Now, I showed you the Christmas ornament, but if you've been over to hobowithwood.com, you see I've got another one that I labeled as a wall hanger or tabletop, and I blew it up, made it big. I hobo-fied it. But by making this larger and making it out of 3mm material, it becomes fragile. The runners weren't sturdy. They needed reinforcement. So on the larger tabletop, or the wall hanger, import is actually just a sled, open. I've got it done up with a couple more features. I put the rope up here at the top because if it's going to be used, well, you'll see. I just like that position for the rope for this particular design. And this piece is a cross member that snaps in here on the sides and the middle of the runners and reinforces that whole thing. And this is just a Christmas decoration that I include with it that you could actually glue to the top of it, and for a wall hanger or for a door hanger. And I'll show you what I did with it. But there was one, I think it was Susan. I don't know if she's here right now, or it might have been Sharon. I can't remember. Sharon, were you the one that was saying that you wished it was shorter? You didn't like the height of how tall this runner was? Well, that is so easily modified without having to redesign the entire thing. Simply by selecting one of those that's not grouped. Just get all of it. Control D, duplicate it, bring that down here, rotate it. And I'm going to ungroup it. Oh no, I just grouped everything. I need to ungroup everything. Then I'm going to select everything that's not on the outer perimeter. I'm going to get over there. There we go. That'll work. And hit the letter D to delete that. Come on. Letter D, the delete button. Now with that, like that, I'm going to put it in node editing. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select the bottom. In fact, what I want to do, there's the middle. I'm going to put a node just below it, letter I, and a node here. I think that's what I want to do, right above it. This one isn't going to matter so much, but these two out here, maybe. I'm just putting some anchor points in here to keep that kind of intact. Now, if I select those lower ones, hold my shift button and select all them nodes. I ain't worried about that guy up there. Come in here and grab that lower one and all of these. Now I should be able to hold my arrow button and start shrinking that up and get it to the height that I want it to be. I will have to go in here and clean these up a little bit. It's not going to be drastic. But by doing that, I'm able to shorten that to whatever height I want it to be. That really starts to mess with your design here when you curve. But you don't have to redesign the whole thing. So I don't want those where I'm going to come in here where these intersect and put an I insert right there. And I'm going to come above it and below it, make sure I've got all those that marked. And then just select all these and hit the letter D for delete. Select these, D for delete. And now I got that little funky thing going on here. D for delete that one and that one. There we go. I didn't need to put those in. But you can use node editing, and if you copy and do not try and edit your original, copy one of the originals, go into node editing and just select what you want to do and just start moving them up, shrink them down. You'll find that if you create some anchor points or where you don't want it to move and move everything else, it's easy enough to modify. It's not really difficult, but you've seen how easy it was to create to begin with. If you didn't like them an inch tall, just create you one that's 3/4 of an inch tall. And sometimes it's easier just to recreate a fresh one than it is to edit it. But sometimes editing is not that difficult. Now I want to show you what I did. And actually, after you explained it, I like both types. Yeah. And like I said, and it's some of you guys watching may have only ever seen a wooden sled that rides really high and never seen the little Western Flyer low profiles. But let me show you what I did with this. I said it could be a table. It could be a centerpiece on a table. It could be a door hanger. Somebody mentioned it in the Facebook group that it could be a door hanger. But here's what I did. Get over here in their light, right? So that, and you could change that from the Merry Christmas, y'all, to if you're going to hang this on your front door and you're covering up your house number, you could make that your house number, your address. Tell them, it's the Grinch's house, whatever. If you get you one of those funky teal green Grinch colored wreaths and make it a Grinch wreath, whatever. But this is what I was talking about. Don't let my designs be the end all. Okay, I can cut that out. It's done. Use it as a springboard to create and elaborate and do more with them. That right there, this is that last piece I showed you. There's your cross member cut out for reinforcement there. And this one was before I put holes in it for my string, because that was an afterthought. But it was a good afterthought. That was a suggestion by Robert. Robert said, "Hey, where do I put the string?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, duh." So, and then this you would wire it in so it doesn't come out so easy. But I actually like this. I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna sell this locally. All right, guys. Anybody got any questions? Any questions? Did I leave anything out? Did I forget anything? And let's see here. Banners. If you are not a patron, and you enjoy these videos and the how-tos, because everything on that sled I just showed you, designing it start to finish, you can design it yourself, do it yourself, and not spend the $1.95 on the Hobo with Wood website. Or you've seen, even though it was really, really easy, even with the fumbling and bumbling, is it worth $1.95 to go over and buy it and not have to create it? Yeah. If you're a patron, you're going to either get it for free or at a discounted price. Gold patrons get it for free. Silver gets it for 80% off. Bronze gets it for 60% off. I uploaded 4 files today. I uploaded the new tree design. I uploaded the Star David with the cross. I uploaded the door hanger and the Christmas ornament. And I think I did all of them for $1.95, I think. So there's $8. That's $8. And if I try to do 2 or 3 a week, gold is a deal. It's $20 a month and you get all the files for free. And Patreon, there we go. It's patreon.com/hobowithwood. Patreon.com/hobowithwood. If you enjoy these videos, I do depend on my patrons to keep my lights on and keep me fed. They're doing a pretty good job because I haven't lost any weight yet. But these past 2 months have been really thin because I'm cash poor and asset rich right now with the RVs and this house and the insurances I've got. The insurance has all come due on everything the last 60 days, and it has killed me. So consider becoming, if you're not a patron, consider becoming a patron. Go gold, like Chicago Bob says. It is the best deal. Patreon.com/hobowithwood. I appreciate the super thanks when you guys pop them in here in the comments. They are greatly appreciated. And if you can't do a regular monthly thing, if you find these videos really helpful and informative, you do that super thanks, once in a while, even if it's just $5. How many people in here? 80 people. If 80 people in here and all of you did $1, That's $80. You know, that'd feed me for the next 3 days, 4 days if I'm going out to eat. Feed me for a week if I go to the grocery store. Thank you for your support. I do hope you guys really found this informative and somewhat entertaining. I'm not sure I thought you're done good. Oh, you done good. Oh, it's getting late, boys and girls. I thought Jim done posted up there. You're done? Good. I thought that was a you're done? Good. Thank you. God, I'm glad you're done with this. Now shut up and get off here. Boy, it's getting late. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I like that, Kevin. I see your comment there. Let's see. Let me go back up here. That's good. Kevin says, wouldn't take much to turn that into a salt and pepper shaker and holder for the dinner table for the holidays. Yeah. And yeah, that'd be a pretty neat idea. Just a condiment holder. Wouldn't take much to make it customizable to your specific size and fitment for your salt and pepper shakers. Cut a couple holes in it, and especially since this has already got the cross member in the bottom, you could take that. Now I did it so that it's all cut out, so that when you're looking at it and across it and through it and all, you don't see a great big solid blob down there. But if you were going to do it in a salt and pepper shaker, simply don't cut those angles out, leave it solid, so you have a solid base under there, cut holes in the top, and then they'll have a base to sit on. Man, that's a good idea. Really good idea. Yes, sir. Go gold, go gold, go gold, go gold. Hey, y'all, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed, like the channel. In fact, if you need to go back and watch the replay, throw a comment in there, about, hey, I learned 2 or 3 things, but I had to come back and watch because the comments in the stream help, comments on the replays help. All those things help promote the algorithm, get the algorithm to promote the views, the channel on up. So like, share, and subscribe, and comment. Yeah, boy. And I tell you what, in our day and time with the autofill and the sometimes those things can get you in trouble if you typing too fast, or if you're using voice to text and you got a little bit of a twang. Sometimes it puts out something that you didn't say, and you can get in trouble real quick. It's all in the punctuation and the right spelling. Yeah, but I thought that was funny. You're done? Good. If someone wants to do a one-time donation, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, in fact, since you mentioned that, Zelle, and for those who are familiar with Zelle, then Zelle is instant and it's free. It's free to you to use, and it's free to me. There's no fees, no processing fees. Like YouTube, when you do a super thanks, and I do appreciate the super thanks I got tonight. It's $20. YouTube, there's another one, $5. Thank you. YouTube's going to take 15 or 20% of that. On the memberships, it was 20%. I ain't real sure on the super thanks, but that's why I told you to cancel your YouTube memberships. If you're going to do 20 a month, it's better for you and me to do it at Patreon, because YouTube takes 20% of their membership fees. They take a fee of those super thanks. But when you use Zelle, Zelle does not cost me a dime or you a dime. It is completely free. And there's my PayPal and the Zelle. If you use online banking, if your bank has an online banking app, you'll probably be surprised to see that Zelle is in your banking app. The majority of the banks in the U.S., I don't know about worldwide, but in the U.S., the majority of the banks use Zelle as their money transfer, because it's free. And nobody charges. I don't know how they do it. Nobody's making any money, but I guess they do it. They like it because of the security of it. So they encourage people to use that instead of other things. Let's see here. Punctuation is important. Got it. Yes, Andy, thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that up and reminding me to put that up there. Yeah, I hear you. And for those who are, most of you probably know by now, and it's in his name there, Terry D's in New Zealand. Christmas down here is totally different. We look at the beach and barbecues. Yeah. Well, you can always go back and watch the replay, but this one was a fun project to develop. I appreciate Robert reaching out to me and asking me, because 2 projects this week. Actually, I created 3, all inspired by people saying, "Hey, I need help with this." And Robert wanted a sled design, and then and Robert can attest to this, within 2.5 hours, I sent him the first prototype design that I was working on, and I didn't like it. The next day I came in and redid the whole thing, rethought it, and had him a design in less than 24 hours, or definitely less than 48, but I think it was less than 24 hours. I had him a working design. And then drawing a complete blank. This is the stroke. The stroke, my short-term memory is gone. And I feel like such a heel. We went live last night and designed the Dale. There we go. Dale Dubs and I went online. We met here in this studio and we designed that Star of David. That was a design that come up. I didn't charge Dale a single thing. I didn't charge Robert a single thing. That was a file that Robert was looking at. It was going to be $5. That same sled design was $5 on Etsy. Mine's $1.95, and it's Lightburn friendly, designed in Lightburn, so you can resize it and not have to worry about irregularities because it's something that was designed in another software. My files are worth everything that I'm putting them on the website for, because they are going to be Lightburn friendly. That's huge. It really is. And so I want to say thank you, Nancy. I do really appreciate you. Yeah, and let's see, where did he go? Chris says he's not seen a Zelle, and it might be stateside, statewide, or in the continental U.S. They may have it. They may or may not have it in Hawaii or Alaska. I don't know. I know I've got a few viewers out there. Let's test it. I think Randy, you're in Hawaii. Won't you see if you can send me $100? No, I'm kidding. So Randy, if you're still in the stream or here, I'm curious. Do you have Zelle in Hawaii? And I know we've got some Alaskas. I'd be interesting to know. Let's see. No Zelle. Oh no. That's just maybe just a little bit in I don't know. I was a little bit fragged starting this out. The time change messed me up, but here V says, oh, where did it go? There it was. I dozed off. I used to be married. I'm used to women falling asleep on me. Oh, it's nice here in Tennessee right now. Cooler days. Yes, I do. I like this a lot. I can throw the windows open in the RV and just sleep with the open air. I love it. Okay. Jim says Alaska has Zelle. I bet Hawaii does too. Yep. So I can talk a woman right to sleep. That might be why I'm divorced. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you hanging out. I had a good time. I hope we all learned something. I did. I learned about the inverted thing with the daylight savings. In fact, I didn't realize that other countries did it. I thought, and because it's not everybody in the United States does it, it's only done sporadically, and they've even talked about trying to get rid of it. So learning that you guys have got it down under, that was interesting. And that instead of falling back, you fell forward. That's because of the difference in the hemispheres and inverted. So it's inverted. But I didn't think about it. That's interesting. Learn something. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. And if you need something, don't hesitate to ask. Patron or not, put the email back up there. hobowithwood@gmail.com. If you're working on a design you have already and you're struggling with something, it's your creation and it's not working like you want it to, send me the file plus a description of what your struggles are. If it's somebody else's file, if it's something else that you've bought from Etsy or anywhere else, and there's a problem with it, I can try and help you straighten out. I have corrected problems in files, but I'm very hesitant if you've got a file and you want to change enough about it to where you've redone their work into something different. I'm not into that. But if there's a problem with it, open shapes and lines not matching, and you need help, I can help clean up a file. I'm happy to do that. But as I said, Robert and Dale both needed files this week, or wanted files this week. I don't know if either ever need any of it, but they wanted it. I created them, didn't charge either one of them a penny because it was inspiration for me. Now they're on the website. Hopefully they're generating some revenue. So if you have questions or problems, don't hesitate to reach out to me right there, hobowithwood@gmail. The file I have to have and a list of what your problems are. Then we can meet right here in the studio and I can show you what I found, how to fix it. I don't want to just fix the file and send it to you. And don't do you any good. I want you to be able to recognize what the problems were and what it took to fix it. And I don't charge anybody ever to do those things. I'm in the studio here working almost 10, 11 hours a day. And I can stop what I'm doing, and because I'm just fiddling anyway, trying to figure out what's going to be next. Had it not been for Robert and Dale, I wouldn't have had 2 designs this week. So thank you. Hats off to both of you for that. I'm going to get out of here because this is going to be the last swig of my RC, and we got to go to the camper. All right. Good night. Oh, before I say final good night, Monday is Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day to anybody that's watching who has served either here in the U.S. or overseas. If you've served your country, I don't know that Australia celebrates our Veterans Day, but I'm sure you have a Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day to all of the veterans out there. And thank you for your service. I know you hear that at least once a year, and it's, kind of like Merry Christmas. It's just, but sincere thank you for your service. And if you haven't seen it, in fact, just for giggles, I don't know how to do this. Go over to, I was going to play it for you now, but instead of playing it for you, I'm going to share this link with you. Go here, and I know you don't need to see what I'm doing. Here, go to studio. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding. Go away. There we go. All right. I don't want you to play. I want to get. What you talking about, Willis? I just clicked on one of my videos and it pulled it up, and then YouTube said, "Oof, something went wrong." Try that again. Here, studio. Here and here. There we go. And now copy. And I'm going to paste this right now in the description. That's the link to Home of the Red, White, and Blue. That's the song. I actually wrote the song after 9/11, days after watching the towers fell. And they had, and it was a combination of the firefighters had erected a flag in the rubble of the Trade Center, and they had a flag draped over the Pentagon where the hole was in the side of the Pentagon. And seeing the flag and all the rubble and the destruction, I'm like, what does that represent? What does it mean? And it doesn't mean as much to you guys down in New Zealand and in Australia. But, for me, I'm looking at the red, white, and blue, the stars and the stripes, the colors. What do each of those symbols represent, and what do I think of? And I come up with a song, and each song it goes from anger to sorrow to love, and what each of those colors represent in the anger, the sorrow, and the love. Each one has a different meaning. But that link in the video, click on that and go over and watch the video on YouTube. I put that particular video together, I think, at Memorial Day last Memorial Day, but it applies just as much now on Veterans Day because it's talking about the red, white, and blue, and it specifically talks about the blue, representing, or the blue is for the sorrow we felt and for the loved ones we've lost. And it's go listen to it after we hang up here, after we disconnect, and I'm doing that now. You guys have a good night. Have a great rest of your weekend. And again, if you need me, reach out. I'm here just about all the time. Have a great weekend, guys. And happy Veterans Day.